So here we are with Perrin for call number 3 for the Niche Site Project 2. How you doing, Perrin?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you back for another call. Sorry we missed last week. I was a little under the weather.
Yeah, no worries.
But we still got a lot of work done, and you were able to come up with some nice seed keyword ideas, or some keywords that you looked at. And of course I wrote about that in the previous blog post. But essentially your assignment for last time we spoke, I'll go down here to this slide, was to find 5 or 10 keywords that met the search volume, CPC, other criteria, and that had low competition. And specifically, just to review again, the competition analysis that we did in depth was all of these things here. You know, the importance of focusing on the top 10 sites in Google, because that's really who you want to outrank. Looking at the title of the page, making sure that the keywords are relevant. Are the other sites using those keywords in their titles? The page authority. Ideally, you want to see multiple results that have less than 30 page authority. Juice page links, less than 30. It's good to see newer sites or niche sites, affiliate sites, Q&A sites, forums. So ideally, you're going to see those weak types of sites. And I know that you've learned quite a bit. And maybe I'll turn it over to you just for a minute. Why don't you tell us what you learned after sort of giving me a list of 10 keywords and having me look at them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was quite a process. I think anybody who read that last post will know sort of the trouble that I had and like how we progressed. So I learned a lot, and I guess I can say a little something about the process also and how I kind of got tricked into some bad keywords, which I think could be a trap for some of the other newbies out there, especially because if I didn't have somebody like you, I would have never known that these were bad keywords, and then you can potentially waste hundreds of dollars and weeks of your time, you know, before you kind of figure out that they're not working. So the main trap I fell into, of course, was looking at e-commerce keywords. And it's really, really tricky because when you're just looking at the data, without the knowledge that Google is giving sort of like this extra weight to keywords or to websites that are actually selling stuff, the data can be extremely misleading. So lots of the keywords I was finding they had this like suffix on there, which was for sale, right?
Right.
And those keywords often had really great keyword competitiveness metrics, which is a long tail pro metric. They looked great from the standpoint of like having few of the competition below page authority, and there were very few juice links, etc. But I just didn't know that the e-commerce sites were sort of getting extra weight from Google, and so it was really misleading. And I think of the first 10, like 8 were for sale keywords. Like 8 of those keywords had the suffix of for sale on them, because once I found keywords with good data, I kind of latched onto my process, which was looking at for sale keywords, you know?
Right.
So that was really misleading, and after learning that, going back for the second round was much more difficult, because if you're looking at products, and I think you and I have discussed we're going to kind of do a product-based site like Best Survival Life Guide. If you're looking at products, it's very difficult to find keywords that aren't sort of laden with these e-commerce competition websites, you know? So what I kind of landed on, and I think you and I discussed this in the comments responding to somebody in the last blog post, was that there are other keywords or other words that you can sort of stick on the front or the end of your seed keywords to filter some of those out. And those are words like best or top or reviews and things like that. And what I ended up doing on Longtail Pro is using the include and exclude feature a lot. So I would exclude in quotes for sale so that I would filter out all the really specifically um, e-commerce keywords. And in some cases, I would also exclude stuff like cheap or any other buying type words. And then I would include words like best and reviews and things like that. And so the second round went better. I still landed on some ones that didn't end up working, but we did end up finding a couple more usable ones, or I was getting sort of more like steering in the right direction. And then the lesson that I learned from that second round was to really look at weaker sites for the competition. So Q&A sites, other niche sites, and I kind of had that in my mind as I was going through, but I didn't know that it was as important as it is.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So the looking for weaker types of sites, again, it's not necessarily required per se, but if you can find those weak forums or Q&A sites or other weak niche sites ranking, then you're more than you're almost guaranteed that you can rank as well. It makes your job of analyzing the competition much easier, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's great to see those. So if you can see those weak sites, for sure, it's usually a great sign that there's a market there that you can tap into. So yeah, some great lessons learned that I probably brushed over some of these things, but I'm glad we went through the exercise so we could really dig deep and drive these points home, because I tend to do that. I just sort of know what I'm doing, and I don't think through the process quite as much because I've done it so much. So this was helpful for me as well to understand what it's like to start without all the experience of a few years of sort of looking at keywords. These are some of the things you need to focus on. And back to the modifying keywords, adding best or top review, I will say that just because a keyword has the word cheap or for sale or some sort of buying phrase surrounded around it, doesn't automatically mean it's a bad keyword. Right. You can definitely go into those markets, and I have in a couple of instances done well, but you're correct in your thinking that usually that's going to bring up a list of all e-commerce sites, and once you see a list of all e-commerce sites, it's usually just difficult to crack that top 10. So it makes your job a lot easier if you just avoid those keywords and can go after the markets that will be a little bit easier to rank in. So I just add that caveat there, as it's not always that all these keywords should be avoided. Sometimes they'll be okay to go after.
Yeah, I think you said it really well in one of your comments to one of the other commenters to that post, is that we were finding a lot of keywords that were kind of medium, like yeah, you might be able to rank, or yeah, you might be able to get the 9 or 10 spot, but one of the reasons that keyword research is so important is that you want to find a market that you're just really confident about, and if you do this work up front, it can make a lot of your work way easier down the road.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why we're spending a few weeks really doing this keyword research, because there's certainly several of the keywords that you sent me a list of that we could rank a site and we could build a niche site and probably do well, but there's enough question there that I'm not super excited about it. I want to see a keyword that I know, with 99% confidence that we're going to be able to rank easily. And when you find those golden keywords, it really is just details after that.
Yeah.
So that's why we do that exercise. So good. So any other points that you want to make sort of in review, and then we're going to move forward after this?
Yeah, I think there's a point to be made about just, like you said, you kind of have to make a decision about how much time you're willing to spend on the process. So I'm sure if you left these words like keep or for sale or other buying words in there, you could find some real gems. But for me, it became kind of a question of time and efficiency, you know? So like, especially if you have another job like I do, you can, you know, like it was eating up hours if I wasn't somehow refining the process. So I guess it's kind of adding on to your thought that there are some gems out there, but, you know, for me, it became a question of efficiency, I think.
Absolutely, and especially when you're first starting out, you want to build your first, hopefully, couple of sites on keywords that you're just real confident about. You know, I definitely don't advise going after very competitive terms when you're starting out. Go after something that you're very confident you can rank for, get some success under your belt, and then, you know, maybe get bigger from there, if you will.
Yeah.
So very good. Tonight I do want to take a look at some more keywords that I know you came with. You said you came with about 5 or so tonight that maybe we can look at.
Yep.
And then there's one other subject as far as overall strategy that I want to dig into because it is actually a question that a couple of people brought up on my blog as well, and that is, how big of a site should we build? Do we want to go after one specific keyword, or do we want to target a little bit bigger market? And that's definitely a question that everybody should consider, so we'll dive into that topic here later. So let's jump right into some keywords.
Yeah, let's do it.
So do you think it works best if I just pull up Longtail Pro on my end, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is what we'll do. So
maybe while you're doing that, I can talk about my process for these 5, since it was after those 2 rounds.
Yeah, go for it. That sounds good.
So the process for these 5, I knew I had a little bit more time because you were sick, and I also knew a little bit more, so I was being a little bit more selective. So my search filter at the beginning was much higher, so 3 of these 5 are over 4,000 search results.
Nice.
Which was, you know, like a rather high filter. I think some of the other keywords we were excited about as far as competitiveness were much lower, but I also really deviated from the list I'd made of seed keywords just because I felt like I was tapping that out and I was getting fewer results but better results by tacking on those words like best and top and reviews. So I was getting fewer results, but I was having slightly better luck. So when I was searching for these, I was really just brainstorming on the fly as I went, and I probably typed in 80 keywords or 80 seed keywords, just like things on my desk, things that I thought people spent a lot of money on. At one point I Googled most expensive hobbies, and just like trying to keep the words flowing because every search was only yielding 10 or 15 results, and I could kind of check them all out individually. So I don't know. I'll be curious about what you think, because I don't think any of these are like super exciting. Some of them still have e-commerce results in there, but most of them also have like niche sites and some weaker sites. So I think it'll be interesting. So yeah, we'll see.
No, that sounds good. And so, yeah, it's always okay to deviate from your original brainstorming list of seed keywords as you learn the process. So I think that's just fine. So let's punch some in here. Let's, I guess, come right here to our competitor analysis. And why don't you give me the first one?
Yeah, this first one should be fun.
Okay.
Ferrets as pets.
Ferrets as pets. And am I spelling that right?
Yep.
Looks good. Ferrets as pets. Okay, so I want to stretch my screen a little, but not too big, so it's...
And this one has the most volume, by the way. This is 6,600.
Okay. So let's see, what's the best way? Should I just go through here and look at this, or maybe it is good to get your point of view. Why don't you tell me what you see that you like, and then I'll shoot you down. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. Build me up, tear me down. That's how make a man out of me, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll have to see. So I think a couple of these... so right off the bat, I see ferretsaspets.org, which is an exact match domain, which leads me to believe that it's some sort of niche site. And I did these during the week, so I don't exactly remember. So clicking on it, it is a blog, and there's an AdSense ad on there.
There sure is. I'm pulling it up right now.
So that's a niche site. However, it has 200-something juice page links. So I didn't quite know what to think about that. There's a lot of links and a fairly high page authority at 32, but it is a niche site, exact match domain targeting this keyword.
And it looks like there's not a ton of content on here from what I can tell.
Yeah.
The most recent article is from September 25th, 2011. So 2 years. Okay. So that is definitely a niche site. It does have a couple of hundred juice page links. And what else did you see?
So there was another WikiHow on here. That is kind of a Q&A site, and that's not a specific Q&A site that we've talked about, but so I was kind of wondering about that, if that's a weaker site or not.
Yeah, I kind of see the WikiHows as weaker sites. Usually they're individual pages. Like this one doesn't have any juice page links. The page itself is a PA of 30, so it's right at that threshold where I still consider it fairly low competition. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, WikiHow fits in that category for sure.
Okay. And then doesn't seem to be a ton of relevancy. I mean, these are all about ferrets and pets, but they're not targeting this particular keyword. And some of them are this is a Petco ad. So let's see what this one comes up with, or a Petco site rather, not an ad. So this is details about ferrets, and then some links to products and stuff.
And where are you seeing that?
Number 7. I'm on mine, by the way.
Oh, okay. So I'm seeing about.com is number 7. Are you seeing something different over there?
Yeah, I have about.com as number 9.
Okay, so it might just be rearranged slightly there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Some of the other things I saw were that there were, let's see, about two sites that have a below page authority of 30, and only one site that has more than 30 juice page links, and a lot of these only have 0, or have 0.
Yeah. So, if I can jump in now.
Yeah.
Overall, I like what I see. I think your analysis is really good. So I'm seeing the same things that you are. The page titles, a lot of them aren't perfect, but they are using the words ferrets and pets, and so it's not hugely off base for most of these titles. So that's not a huge point per se. But I do see, obviously that niche site we just looked at, gives me confidence that at least niche sites are ranking in this market. Then specifically what I look at, same thing you do. The page authority column, I'm seeing at least 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 that have a page authority of 30 or less. And those sites with a 30 or less also have less than 30 juice page links as well. So that's, and the types of sites specifically, there's a WikiHow, there's a hub pages showing on mine down here at the bottom, and of course that niche site as well. So overall, this is definitely a low competition keyword that I would feel pretty confident that you could rank in the top 10 and have a niche site up and running. Yeah, I think your analysis is pretty good.
Also, there's young sites in here. Just to point it out.
Yes. The site age on some of these, I would probably have to refresh here. Some of the site ages didn't pull up on mine.
Yeah, if there's just a real quick question about Longtail Pro, if there's a line in there, does it mean that it's like less than a year old, or does it?
It could mean that it's brand new, but usually it means that the data didn't come in properly for whatever reason. So on some of these, I am still getting a dash here, so it's not pulling in properly. So it doesn't say how old it is for sure, but like that niche site we do know is a couple of years old, because we saw how old the content was there. My only thought in this market is, it's probably not a huge money maker. It's not, people spending tons of money. I would think they're kind of learning about ferrets and maybe how to care for ferrets. But yeah, I mean, it's one that you could rank and you could build a site on. So
yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's kind of good. I mean, maybe I should make a list here of potential options here.
Sure.
So I'm gonna put looks. Well, give me what was the search volume again on that?
6,600.
6,600. And do you happen to have the CPC there?
$1.50.
And
but the advertiser competition is low.
Okay, I was gonna say so. So that means that cost per click is probably not super relevant because there's not a lot of advertisers.
Yeah.
That means that when they do advertise, maybe sometimes they're spending $1.50, but because there's so few that maybe most of the time they're really only spending 5 cents. It's just every once in a while some big guy comes in and spends $2 or $3, and it skews everything to $1.50 average. So this maybe would need to be an AdSense play, similar to that other niche site that was there. Get some people clicking some ads. Probably not going to be a huge money maker. If you're passionate about ferrets, then maybe it's a good market to go into. But we'll see. That's my thoughts. So what's the next keyword?
Next keyword is okay. This one's a little higher competition. This is best paintball gun.
Maybe I should put my thoughts. Low competition in top 10. Anyways, so best paintball gun. What sort of search volume there?
4,400.
Okay. And CPC.
42 cents.
Okay. All right, let's take a look.
And high advertising competition.
Okay, so tell me what you're seeing here that you like.
Okay, and I'm looking at mine.
Okay.
So they may be in a slightly different order, but the thing that jumped right out at me and got me most excited about this keyword, it's number 8 for me, but it's bestpaintballreviews.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Has a page authority of 17 and no juice page links. So that exact match domain led me to believe that it is a niche site, and looking at it, it seems to be, and I'm just double checking here.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here.
Yeah, it seems to be maybe an affiliate site, and it's also got some ads on there. Because
so let's see, it's got paintball guns by price, and then it says read review. Then it takes you to a review page, and then I'm guessing it's going to link over to Amazon.
Yeah, the one that I'm clicking on right now is linking to another paintballonline.com. So
this one links to Amazon. So it is an affiliate site. Definitely just an affiliate niche site. It looks like they probably have quite a few pages of content. There might be a lot of content on here.
Is that something you look for? I mean, because you said that about the ferret one we were looking at. So when you see a niche site, do you consider it stronger if you look at it and it has a whole bunch of content on it?
Yeah, I do. I see it as, at least as far as, I don't know whether, some people say that Google do rank sites with more content better. Whether or not that is true, I don't know. The jury's still out there. But I guess what's going through my head is, well, if it's a small site with only 2 or 3 or 5 pages, they haven't put a ton of effort into this, and they still got it to rank very quickly.
Yeah.
When I see a little bit bigger site, it doesn't scare me, but it's just, okay, well, I can see why maybe they're ranking. They're obviously got a lot of content. Maybe people are spending a lot of time on their site, and time on site actually, I do believe, helps sites rank better in Google. So, I see they have all sorts of categories for hoppers and masks and harnesses, cleats, cameras, and all sorts of good things here. But it's definitely an affiliate site, and as far as, it has no juice page links pointing to that page, very low page authority. So yeah, that's a still a low competition result there for sure.
Yep. A couple of things that scared me. Oh, also, I don't know which one this is on yours, but this looks like a very weak site to me. But you tell me. Paintballgun.findthebest.com. You see that one?
It's not at the bottom for me.
Yeah. So that one looks like a dedicated review site that's also making money with ad revenue, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just guessing because, Paintball Guns is a subdomain. Paintballguns.findthebest.com is how they have it. So I'm guessing findthebest.com is just a huge review site, yeah. When you go to their homepage, they've got business and finance, electronics. So they probably got thousands and thousands of products, and they're throwing up, pages for each of these. So it's a big site, and I guess it would tell me, like their homepage, I can just quickly see has a page rank of 6. That just generally tells me it's probably been around a while, and is maybe authoritative. But let's look at the domain authority. So domain authority is 68. Not super high, but it is somewhat high. Let's again look at the individual page. But it is just a big review site, and then I just see a bunch of listings. Boy, that looks... When I see just a chart of products, that looks pretty weak to me.
Okay, yeah, so that's something I didn't know. So if it's a page like this where there's only a chart but no content, does that make that page weaker?
It seems like it would be to me. They're doing a good job because they are providing value with the chart and the prices and some of the things they're saying, but I think some real content that discusses these products would make it better.
Yeah.
So if you had a chart just like they did, but then added a great in-depth article explaining, how to pick the best paintball handgun, I think your page would be better quality from a user standpoint, and ideally that translates into Google also saying the same thing. So yeah, I see that as a weak result overall as well.
Yeah.
So so I see a couple of weak ones there. Just quickly looking, there are some here near the top that have quite a few juice page links.
Yeah.
But then there's definitely enough scattered between here that have very low page authority. There's some 18, 17, and some others in that area with no juice page links. So again, I see some definite potential.
And are you scared off at all by the couple Amazon.com listings in here?
When I see a page that has only 2 or 3 e-commerce results like this one, I almost ignore those.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to know exactly what Google is thinking and what Google is doing. And so
Yeah.
I like to look at the other results that I know I can replicate, that are affiliate sites or just content-based sites. And I look at the strength of those pages that I know I can duplicate and perhaps build a stronger site. So I'm looking at those Amazon ones. It doesn't scare me. I just kind of ignore those and look at what I know I can analyze for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I see some potential there. I think it's going to be lower half of the page, just based on what I'm looking at, because near the top there are some sites that, are pretty strong, page authority, lots of juice page links, that sort of thing. But who knows? I mean, it's one of those things where you build a niche site that you think you can only get at the bottom of the first page, and if you build a great site, who knows, you could take over the top. So
Yeah.
so I definitely think it has potential. Has signs of weakness. So yeah.
I have a question about this one.
Okay.
On my screen, I'm looking more at my screen than your screen now. I apologize, but on my screen, the top result is a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's the same here.
So that's beating an e-commerce site with 1,400 juice links and higher page authority. So I wonder if we can talk about what's going on there.
Sure. Yeah, well, Google really likes themselves, and
Yeah.
they own YouTube,
Yeah,
so they can do whatever they want with their YouTube videos. They don't have to follow their own guidelines. It's one of those things. YouTube is tough to analyze because they are owned by Google, so a lot of times with seemingly no real authority, no links, they'll be at the top like they are.
Yeah.
And that was the case a long time for my survival knife site. The results there,
Yeah, I
YouTube
remember that.
video was #1 for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I've now overtaken that. But YouTube videos is also one of those results that I like to see other results again that I know I can analyze. So YouTube is one of those things that I almost just kind of say, well, I might be able to outrank it, I might not be. I really don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard because Google likes to make sure they stay in business, so they make sure people stay on their websites all the time. No, I don't know. It's one of those things, yeah. So that's my thoughts there.
Cool.
Not sure if that helps at all. I'm telling you to just
No, it does.
don't look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, well, it's tricky, because you come across YouTube videos and sometimes they just don't make sense with all the other stuff you're seeing. So it definitely helps just to remember that Google's got some skin in the game with YouTube videos,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So hopefully that thought helps a little bit for people listening. But let's take a look at another one here.
Yeah, totally. Let's see. Okay. This is one I found today. Keyword competitiveness is the lowest of the 5, 26. So this is best watch brands.
Interesting. Okay. And search volume?
Search volume there is also... Oh, hold on. Let me get back to it. 4,400.
Okay.
And CPC is understandably higher. It's 239.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And then
I'm guessing the ad competition is high on that one too.
it's only medium, funnily
Medium.
enough.
Okay. There you go. Best watch brands. So go ahead and walk us through what you're seeing there.
Okay, so I think one of the things I'm starting to do as I'm learning more about keyword research is to quickly scan the domains for niche sites right off the bat.
Yep.
Because those are the things that get me excited. Just because, the thought process is can I beat this guy or can I not beat this guy? And there was one on here that I thought I could beat, and that, I don't know which number it is for you, but it's Swiss-watch-brands.com.
I'm not actually seeing that one. Is that down the bottom of your page, or?
Yeah, it's number 8.
Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing that one. I do see a couple other niche sites, though.
Bestwatchbrands.net, you probably have on there.
Yep.
Yep, that one looks really promising, too. That one's towards the top or middle.
Yep.
It's number 4 for me.
Yeah, number 4.
And that just looks like a really, really weak site to me.
Boy, I don't see any juice page links. Wow. Are these stats right?
I know,
it's
right?
like no domain authority, no juice page links. It's just an exact match domain. And when I pull it up, it looks like a really basic, not very exciting niche site.
Looks like 5 articles, maybe.
Huh. Boy, we shouldn't be sharing all these keywords, Taryn.
I know. Somebody's gonna get a nice one.
You're a gold mine. So, yeah, what else do you see? I mean, I think we're looking at the same things. Do you see bestwatchbrandsguide.com? That one's number 10 for me.
I do not see that one.
And maybe I will address why maybe our results are slightly different. Usually they should always be the same, but Google does slightly change the results based on geography. You're in Chicago, I'm over in Washington, and just the software Longtail Pro does take personalization and should take localization out of the equation, but sometimes results do change very slightly, and it sounds like for the most part it's just our last couple of results maybe are slightly different on these.
Yeah, and I think on a couple, like our overall keyword competitiveness has been off by 1 point or anything, but it hasn't affected the analysis at all. Right,
exactly. No, so I'm seeing another weak niche site that's ranked number 10, bestwatchbrandsguide.com. It's a 4-month-old site, and my hunch is that maybe it's built by somebody that reads my blog just because they added the word guide. It was built 4 months ago. I started my niche site 6 months ago. And, oh, look at this. I pulled up, it's a chart that uses the table press plugin that I recommended. So sorry to whoever you are listening. We outed your keyword. People are going to hate us.
Yeah.
But looks like they've actually done a pretty good job. They've got at least some menus here where you can select different brands, and they're doing a good job. So
yeah.
Well done. I applaud you, niche site creator, mysterious person.
Hope he's making some money.
Yeah, I hope it's working out for him. But I see this as another great potential keyword that you could go after. Even the number 1 site itself is an AskMen.com column, 9 juice page links. Page authority is a little higher, but it's not unbeatable.
Yep.
So I really like this keyword. Good job.
So it's really just encouraging. I hope it's encouraging for everybody else out there. So it's taken us 3 weeks, but I don't feel like so far we've had any duds for these 5 that I've really put a lot of energy into.
Yeah, I almost want to save your other 2 keywords and not share them, because I feel like if we share all your keywords, the sites are going to be built before we ever have a chance.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But it looks like people are already building sites on them, so
that's right.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
And who knows? Maybe these other 2 won't be so good.
Yeah, but actually, I mean, this call is already, I don't know, 40 minutes or whatever it is now. I do want to spend some time talking about some other things.
Yeah.
So I think this was pretty good exercise. I mean, we could go through the other 2 if you want, but I think people have gotten a pretty good idea. I think you've really nailed it. I mean, you're finding keywords that I would be building niche sites on. Maybe not the ferrets as pets one. It is low competition, but for the reasons I mentioned, maybe it's not the best choice. These other ones look like great keywords, and for people that are really smart out there listening in, they can see these types of keywords, and they've probably already got ideas in their heads how they could find thousands of others that sort of meet this same formula that we're using here to find these keywords, in product categories. So,
yeah, I think it's also worth mentioning that, for example, like the best paintball guns is one, and I talked about this in one of my write-ups, where I had to make some concessions. So I was looking at an average keyword competitiveness metric of like 30 or below. That best paintball gun is 34, and it was 35 a couple days ago. So, I mean, but I guess the lesson is just that it pays to click on these and really go through the sites.
Yeah, it definitely does. The keyword competitive metric is really great as a general indicator, and it can save you a ton of time. I mean, if they're pulling up as 40, 50, or 60, I mean, you just skip it. But some of these, that are a little closer to 30, it's worth the time to click on them, look at the individual results, and really analyze it. So I agree with that. So let's talk strategy just a little bit. I can almost feel my audience out there telling me to go through these other two keywords that you have. I think they're eating this up. Let's, for risk of just blowing our chances at ranking for these keywords, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go through these last two.
Right.
So what do you got?
Okay. And so who knows if I know one of them is just goofy, but it might be a good informational one.
Okay.
This is best way to remove earwax.
Q-tips.
Yeah. Aren't you not supposed to use those or something?
Yeah, it like specifically says on the box, do not shove this in your ear and try to get earwax out.
Yeah.
That's all I use Q-tips for anyways.
Yeah.
That's probably why my ears are so bad.
Yeah.
No. Is earwax one word?
No, it's 2 words.
It's 2 words. Yeah, let's do that right. Best way to remove earwax. I would like to know that.
Yeah. So this one is a little weird because, and this is one of the ones that I really wanted to get your opinion on.
Okay. Because
there's only one keyword in here, or one result in here that has a page authority of less than 22. I'm sorry, less than 30 on my screen anyway. But I saw some sites, and there's actually a .gov site in here, which is really interesting. On my end anyway, it's number 10. I don't know if you have that one.
Yes, I do.
But, however, what attracted me to this one was all of the answer sites in here. So there's an answers.yahoo in here, and there's a WikiHow, and they are really close to the top and have very few links.
Yep, I see the same thing.
Yeah, and there's an exact match domain, earwaxremoval.com. That I think may be in the site. Yeah, that one has AdSense on it.
Yeah, so. I'm pulling that one up right now. Yep, it's just an AdSense site. And doesn't look to be like anything spectacular from pulling it up. So this one is interesting because on the one hand, like you said, you've got some very authoritative sites, WebMD, you've got a .gov site, you've got this, I guess I don't even know what it is, this NetDoctor, but then you've got Wall Street Journal, and anyway, some other high page authority or domain authority sites. But then you have some signs of weakness there. You have like Yahoo Answers sort of poking in with no juice page links, and WikiHow, and this other niche site. So those would be the ones I would zero in on, because those are the ones I know I can analyze a little better. And when I do that, the exact match domain, or the niche site there, has a page authority of 37, has 35 juice page links, so it's not ideal. It's got a little bit of authority there, but doesn't completely scare me away, right? That's beatable. And then the WikiHow and Yahoo Answers are kind of a toss-up sometimes because they are very authoritative as far as domain authority. And so how many juice page links would you have to outrank this WikiHow page with a page authority of 52?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that for sure. So I think you could rank somewhere between, I think you could rank on this page. I'm not super excited about it.
Yeah.
Just because of what I mentioned.
Yeah.
You could definitely build a site and rank. I don't think that's a question. But how high, I don't know. And there's enough question marks where it wouldn't be my first choice.
Also, and it's silly, but it's a question that we were talking about earlier, is that you have to, or I think you and I were talking about this a little bit more in depth when we were IMing, but it's important also to consider the whole niche and how many articles does someone really want to write on, earwax.
Yeah. How many can you write? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can only have enough, user images or something of earwax to, stomach that for, once, I think.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do your last keyword.
Okay. This one is best hybrid bikes.
Best hybrid bikes. Okay, so while that's pulling in, what sort of search volume does that have?
This one has 1,600.
Okay, so a little lower.
A little bit lower. Yeah.
And
wait, hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. 2,900.
2,900. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you like? What do you see?
For this one, so the thing that jumped out at me, and as I'm going top to bottom, I was a little bit scared at first because Amazon and Consumer Reports are up there, which are obviously really hard to beat. But, and it's number 5 for me, is a forum.
Yep, same.
And there's also, at the bottom, a hub pages and a Squidoo page. And so for the hub pages, the Squidoo page, and the forum, none of those have any juice page links.
Yep.
So that's really what attracted me to this, but there's also a couple other pages in there that have less than 30 page authority.
Yeah.
And only one for the whole thing that has over 30 page links, or juice links rather.
Yep, you're right.
And yeah, and this davescheapbikes.com, I believe that might be an e-commerce site. But nope, that's an AdSense site that's 4 months old. Yeah,
I'm pulling that up now as well.
Yeah.
You're right. That is just that's just an affiliate site.
Yeah, so those are the things that kind of got me excited about it. But my only reservations were the authoritative sites up at the top.
So, I kind of, this isn't a bad keyword for all the reasons you mentioned. It's got some definite signs of weakness with Dave's Cheap Bikes, Squidoo page, the forum there. No juice page links, some low page authority. This is a niche that you can most certainly go into. I have nothing to add really to what you said. I think it could be a good niche. Maybe it doesn't have the highest search volume in the world, but it's definitely something I think you could rank for. So, yeah, good job.
And this one, for the same reason that you wouldn't write about earwax, there's probably a million things you could write about in the bicycle niche.
Yeah, and, this actually is probably a good segue with Dave's cheapbikes.com is actually a fairly good example of what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So well, let me just show you what he's doing. So the page that's ranking is not his homepage, right? It's just an article on. So there's Dave's Cheap Bikes. If we go to his homepage, I don't know what he's got here, but yeah, he's basically got what I'm talking about. So he just has a welcome page, but then at the bottom he's got 4 different categories. So his general niche is cheap bikes, okay, or bikes. And then he's got it broken down, if you will, his secondary articles, or his secondary keywords. He has 4 secondary keywords that he wants to rank for. Cheap mountain bikes, cheap road bikes, best hybrid bikes, and best bike computers. So his best hybrid bikes page is ranking in the top 10. I don't know if he's ranking for his other keywords, but he's doing something interesting because he's now built what could potentially become a huge authoritative type site. Because his home page is just something general on bikes, he can logically write about hundreds of different types of bikes or bike brands and build this into a huge site, and it would all make sense under his brand of Dave's cheapbikes.com.
Yeah.
Whereas if we were to build a site and our homepage was besthybridbikes.com, we could rank for best hybrid bikes and do well, but it wouldn't make quite as much sense if we then started writing about tandem bicycles and 3-wheel bicycles that aren't hybrids. There would be a disconnect there, right?
Yep.
And so that's the strategy that I wanted to talk about that we could do. And so what do we call this strategy? More of a general, really people are calling it authority site, maybe general, targeting a general niche. So essentially, in this strategy, and I don't want to give away the example we found for you, but we did find one particular keyword that looks to be very low competition. I know for sure we could rank, but it only gets about 1,900 searches a month.
Yeah.
And so if we made that your home page or your primary keyword, yeah, we could make a little bit of money, and we could potentially find some other secondary keywords. But it's a particular type of keyword that if you called your home page this, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to go after some of these other keywords. So if you go after more of a general niche, maybe we'll just keep, so your home page is more brandable. And maybe you still target a keyword, but you would make it something that is more of a general niche keyword. So, let's just go with the bike category. So let's say you target, best bikes is your keyword. That might be a very, very difficult keyword, and maybe you'll never rank for that particular keyword. It may not actually even matter, because really what we want to do is rank for tons of secondary keywords. So we want to build a brand and then rank for tons of secondary keywords. If our homepage ever ranks, it's a bonus in a way. Okay?
Yeah.
So for secondary keywords, we can target lots of very low competition. So, we would target best hybrid bike. Maybe that's the keyword we found that doesn't get very high search volume, but we know we can rank for it. So we build a page specifically for best hybrid bikes. We make it awesome. And then initially we build links to this secondary page rather than our home page, because really what we're trying to rank for is best hybrid bike. In the long run, yes, maybe we'll try to rank for best bikes, but that's not our first focus.
Right.
Okay, so initially we would build lots of links to the secondary page, a few links to home page, and we chatted about this before, so maybe you would do 70% to the first secondary page. Let's call it the best hybrid bike page, and 30% to home page, just to start. And after ranking for best hybrid bike, you start building links to other secondary articles. Okay, so this is a strategy that's maybe a little bit more of a authority type site, targets a bigger general niche, so that then you can write potentially thousands of articles, you know, hundreds or thousands of articles on tons of low competition keywords. And so I don't know if this will be the route that we go, but I throw it out there as a potential strategy. What are your thoughts there, Perrin, on this?
Yeah, I think it makes sense from the standpoint of building a site that brings in substantially more money than the micro niche sites, or like something you can put lots of energy into and have a major virtual asset. I think it makes a lot of sense. And so just to clarify though, there would be kind of separate link building efforts. Like after, say, you're ranking for best hybrid bikes, you create another page and also build links to that page separately?
Yeah, you very well might on those, and it may depend on the particular keyword that you're targeting. So if you find another great keyword that's getting searched for 2,500 times a month and you really want to rank for that, yes, go out and you build some links and you can rank that page.
Right.
But ideally, you can start finding keywords that maybe only get searched for a couple hundred or 300 or 400 times a month that are so low competition that just by writing an article, a great article, and linking from your own homepage that maybe has some authority at that point, by virtue of just doing that, you start to rank in Google automatically. And that's really when you're going to start to feel the power of this larger brandable type site. Is the content that you put up ranks automatically without doing a ton of link building, just because you have a stronger brand, a stronger domain overall.
Yeah.
So, but yes, initially to start, you might have to be building links to a few different pages. And if you find great keywords, we can hit our goal, after just a few secondary keywords that you're targeting of $500 a month. And just grow it from there. So there's nothing wrong with that particular strategy. I'm actually glad we found Dave's cheap bikes, because that illustrated my point quite well. Essentially what he's doing. The only thing that maybe Dave could do better, or maybe he is doing this, maybe he is targeting on his homepage, he's trying to rank for cheap bikes. If he is, he's not doing a very good job of on-page optimization. He doesn't really mention cheap bikes, but that would be what I would do if I were Dave.
Yeah.
Is my homepage, I would target the phrase cheap bikes, and I would have a big article about cheap bikes, maybe a chart with different kinds of cheap bikes, or categories, mountain bikes, road bikes, hybrid bikes, tandem bikes, whatever, three-wheeled bikes, and then have links going to all my secondary pages for each of those types of sites. So the long-term strategy for Dave should be to eventually rank for the term cheap bikes in Google. Yeah. He may never get there, but because he has so many secondary articles that he will rank for, he's going to make money all along the way.
Yeah.
So that's a strategy that we may go into. So Perrin and I are going to, get back together and talk about it as we do some more keyword research, and just depending on what route we want to go, that's what we'll do either way. But for now, I think we've covered some really good content here. You had some great keyword options. You've nailed it. I think you're looking at all the same things that I'm looking at. You've got some great keyword choices there. You have now become the master.
We'll see about that.
No, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So, anything else we need to cover?
I don't think so. There's always more to cover, but maybe
Sure.
not today.
So maybe we should cover what your assignment is. What are you going to work on this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we need to pick a keyword.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be the goal. Is in the next 7 days, let's narrow down on one keyword we want to work on, and let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, maybe that's the only assignment. Well, let's find a winning keyword, and also decide what our general strategy is.
Cool.
Whether we decide to go after, sort of the exact match domain type strategy, kind of how my best survival knife guide site is, that strategy, or this general brandable bigger site strategy. And that will be determined on the keyword that we find.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big week, actually. The assignment's not long, but it's going to bring together everything we've discussed. You're going to pick, hopefully, that winning keyword. We're going to pick an overall strategy. And on our next call, we'll start developing an overall big picture for content. Maybe talk about the importance of domain name and what domain name we might pick, and all of those things that come along with actually buying a domain, building a site, and getting started. So it should be an exciting week.
Awesome. I'm excited.
It's getting real.
Yeah, it's getting real.
So, very good. Any closing thoughts on your end there?
No, I don't think so. Just I always want to thank everybody who comments on the post. It's like, Spencer always says he enjoys a conversation, and it's really easy to see why that is. Because everybody's super energetic. A lot of people are following along on their own. A lot of people are raising really good questions that we haven't thought of. So keep it up. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And definitely shout out to everybody out there listening. We do appreciate the feedback. It's great to hear your thoughts. I do enjoy the discussion. It keeps me motivated, and it helps me think a little bit more about my own process. It takes ideas out of my head and makes me put them down on paper, if you will. And so, yeah, we appreciate the discussion and everybody following along. It motivates Perrin as well.
Yeah, big time.
Because we're all watching.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. Thanks again, Perrin. And good luck over the next 7 days picking your keyword.
All right, thanks.
All right, appreciate it. You have a good night.
Thanks.
And we'll see you. Bye.